Okay, it's 5:15 on Wednesday, May 28th, so I'll call to order this Human Rights Commission meeting. The first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from the April 28th meeting. Those are attached for your review. As you're reviewing, just let me know if there are questions, comments, or changes. It was a big meeting. There's a lot on the minutes. Any questions or comments at all? Everybody, yeah.
Move to approve the minutes of last meeting.
Great. Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Any other discussion? Yeah, all approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The approval of minutes passes. Next is the budget report. So the monthly financial report is attached. We still have 96.69% of our budget. We'll have things coming out now. We'll ramp up with activities in the summer months, so we'll start having things come out of this, but that's where we're at. Just some supplies for the human rights ceremony and plaques. Any questions on the budget? We don't need a motion on that because we're just reviewing it. And then the second item is the 2026 budget request. The deadline is to submit this is the 27th of June. We tabled it from the April 28th meeting, and we did meet at the subcommittee to review it. And so the budget request draft for 2026 is attached. It's trouble for me to get it to open.
That's okay. Yeah. I'll save in trouble.
Yeah, trying to download it too.
This is just supposed to show what we have for 2025. So nothing is supposed to be filled in for 2026 proposal yet, right? Because that is blank.
It's not supposed to be blank.
It's not supposed to be blank?
No.
That's okay. Oh. Yeah, I was going to say.
Okay. I'm just trying to open the document.
Yeah.
I can't even get it to open.
Well, if
Oh,
you
you got it?
download it, you can view
okay.
it.
So the proposal is, so yes, so we're basically proposing, the 2025 request, moving everything over to 2026. Instead of prizes for the poster and essay contest, we moved that to we're changing the name, from essay and poster to, Living Without Limits. So it would be a combined total of 2,400 for that. And then program expenses, 2,200. And then the total requested would be 8,500. So we're basically proposing to leave it the same as last year. And request 8,500. We got 6,050 last year. And we had some carryover. So we're proposing leaving it the same because we're moving, like I said, the poster and essay contest to a different name. We felt like we might not be spending as much on that. And then additional, for the fair, parades, welcoming week event, signs, stickers, et cetera, that's $1,500. And then we still have $2,200 for speakers, fees and advertising. And they're not limited to those categories. We're just trying to put it out. So if we find that we need to take some from the 2,200 of program expenses for advertising and move it to something else, we can. So that's why I decided to leave it as is.
Yeah, so the increase from the 2025 request is mostly due to the increased cost related to the welcoming event, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think we actually have it on here, but we did propose adding another $500. So I believe that we actually want to change the request and add $500 to 2026 to account for the welcoming week event. So it would actually be $9,000.
Right.
So we'll have to change that when we submit the request. So that was the proposal from the subcommittee. So it's not actually accurate on here. We didn't carry it over. Questions or thoughts? Any other changes? So yeah, we'd basically, the proposal from the subcommittee would be to request the $9,000.
That's a good number. We seem to be doing more and more. There's a lot of different things on the horizon. So even if, we end up getting less, I think it's still good to shoot for that. I will make a motion to accept this proposal plus the 500 added for Welcome Week.
Second?
Do we have any other discussion?
I mean, I've done a little bit, I don't know if this is the spot to talk
Yeah.
about it, but
Yep,
I've
go
done a
ahead.
little bit of research into the rental fees for various items, like the very glamorous porta potty rentals that we need for the welcoming event. And that price is about $400 if we get the accessible one, which we should. A hand wash station, some trash cans, things that we talked about as an events committee. So yeah, I think that alone is about $400. I have an email out to the company just to make sure that includes pickup and everything, that's all inclusive. So I'm still waiting to hear back on that, but that's what I know so far. And then based on the rental price for some of the bounce house and all that we had last year, I think that tracks with what I
Okay.
found.
And we did, just a reminder for this, when we requested last year, we used quite a bit of our budget for a pretty expensive speaker. It was a couple $1,000s. We don't anticipate using that in the coming year, so we do have some wiggle room, just as we don't anticipate having an expensive speaker like that. So that $2,200 for speaker, some of that could for speaker and program expenses could certainly go as we're planning the Welcoming Week event too. Just for historically, that is the first year I've seen us use our entire budget. Previous years, we were more on track. So I think wise to up it, but we can definitely use some of just the program expenses for the events too. Any other discussion? All in favor of approving this budget request to send to the city?
Aye.
All opposed, same sign? That motion passes. Next is the events committee. There are two, the HRC events committee sponsored events. So there's two on there. One is the future forum regarding immigration concerns. Further down in the agenda, we have David who will speak about the organization that we're partnering with. We basically just need to pick a date for this that works for the organization and plan. So we were shooting for June, understanding that now it is almost June. So, and the plan is to use the community center, and then we can partner with NewCat to do some virtual streaming of that once we decide on a date. Any questions about that? So I think afterwards we can just talk and maybe come up with a list of dates, and then we can just pick one, as that event has already been approved. And then the second event on that committee is the Welcoming Week event. The subcommittee met. That week is September 12th through the 21st. We have decided to do it on a Friday, September 19th. We did it on a Friday last year. It went over really well, and we've already gotten approval from the city council to use 30 parking stalls in the adjacent parking lot here, which we did the year before. So that's underway. Sarah has been working on pricing out things that we had talked about, like the porta potties, like she mentioned, hand washing stations, bounce house, things like that. I've reached out to food trucks. We have one confirmed so far. The plan this year is to try and just get 4 food trucks, all with a different menu, so we have more of a variety this year, so we're working on that. Reached out to Park and Rec to see if they would partner with us. Working on, I had sent out a flyer to the subcommittee, we just need to work on a flyer. The flyer is basically information about the event, inviting community partners to set up a table, so we need to get that going. What am I missing, other subcommittee? I'm trying to think. We will have a table. So it should be a good event again this year, and we're well ahead of schedule for planning compared to last year, so it should be good. Okay, next, no other discussion. We don't need any motions. The events committee participating events. So that's events that we participate in. So first is the Bavarian Blast 5K Fun Run. As you remember, last month there was a request for sponsorship and a donation from the Wellness Collective, which was approved and was sent. And the HRC logo has been submitted to them, so that will appear on their bags and on the T-shirt, or on the T-shirt, right? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
T-shirt.
We're T-shirt.
And
Okay.
if you have anything you want to put in the swag bags, you can.
Okay. Bavarian Blast Parade. So that's Sunday, July 20th. Registration form and payment in process. So we're good to go on that for now. New Ulm Night Out. That's Thursday, July 31st from 5:30 to 8:30 at German Park. Registration deadline is July 1st. And then Brown County Free Fair, that is Wednesday, August 6th through Sunday, August 10th. I see she put the volunteer sign up in here that we used from previous, you guys must have put it out, huh? So we have the sign up already to sign up for shifts for that. Any other comments on those events from that committee? Back to the other items in the swag bag too, maybe we want to discuss down further on the other business is the promotional products, which we discussed, so we could talk about that if there's something we want to select to put in the bags. Education committee report, community survey. Do we have any additional information on that? Okay. And then there was the educational subcommittee meeting on 5/13 on living without limits. Is there anybody who wants to speak to that and review?
I mean, I can, because I wrote up the minutes, so you can see those attached. Yeah, Carl's not here, but Deb and I were there. So just as you guys can all read, the objectives of what we see for this series, you can see those 3 there. So really it's, awareness, increasing inclusion, and then empowering community members who attend to design our community with inclusion in mind for these different challenges. And so you can see the formats that we were thinking. We'd love to have some speakers, some experts, and people living that experience there. They don't necessarily need to be there. It doesn't have to be the same format for every single session, right? These are just some ideas we came up with. So, and then maybe some demonstrations on what it's actually like to live with whatever it is that we're addressing at that particular session, and then some Q&A or maybe a panel discussion. So those are some different formats. We would like to have it at the library in the basement. It's kind of a smaller site, and then with like a simultaneous new cat presentation for people who can't come. And you can see some of the proposed topics. And so, and these are just ideas that we came up with. They're not set in stone. It's open to the discussion, open to discussion. And so we're at the point of really finalizing what topics we want and then looking into the resources that we need. And of course, the most important one really is finding speakers and panelists to participate. So I'd love some ideas from the rest of the committee, right? That's where we left it.
Okay. Looks
This
really
is-
good.
Are those This is so interesting because this is sounding similar to something that One New Ulm did maybe a year or two ago when we partnered with, oh, now it's leaving my brain. I forget what it's called. We'll bring it back. But the concept is that you have books and you have readers, and this is something that they do internationally. So the books they kind of live with something that's different or something that would traditionally be shunned in the community or seen as, I don't know, just like they may feel like an outcast. And so they present what living like that, what living is like in that environment when you feel that way. And then they're the books and they just share their own personal experience. They're not necessarily experts except for just on their life. And then the readers just listen and they're allowed to ask questions and it can be a conversation. Obviously, there's no hostility allowed. It's not supposed to be a debate. You're not trying to change anyone's mind. You're just like sharing. And I'm going to have to look up what it's called. But this might even be better because with that one, we were restricted to what the organization allowed us to do. And we were going to do it again, but we had to have so many books. I think they wanted us to have 10 books, and we didn't have that many volunteers. And with every book, then you have like a volunteer that's with them just to make sure that the crowd is, everything is going smoothly. So we needed like 20 volunteers, and we just didn't have the manpower. So we ended up not doing it. So this might even be better because we're not restricted by those like guidelines. But it sounds very similar. I'm going to try and look it up.
I don't know, Deb, did you have anything to add based on our conversation? Does that sum it up?
I think it did, and I think it fits well with what she was just saying, because we were talking more experiential, as
Yep.
opposed to just the person that sounds like the
Right.
professional who
Right.
tells you all about what it's like to be blind but isn't blind himself.
Right,
herself,
of course. Yeah.
So I thought that would be a really nice way to do it and more meaningful. So.
And we also partnered with the library and hosted it there. So
Okay.
they would know, they were interested in doing it again. So they would know about it.
Well, I certainly think if there are books available, it could would tie into any of these topics too. Kind of come.
Human Library Organization. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the organization we partnered with. So with the benefit with partnering with them is that they train the books in like how to speak so that you're just sharing your experience and you're not on a soapbox and you're not trying to be an expert and you're not trying to challenge anyone. And I think they also like maybe do a little training on how to like if someone is becoming challenging, like divert or something. So that's the benefit of partnering with them is they're a packaged, polished deal and they have training that come along with it. But you can also do the same thing without them.
When you did it, did you zero in on adults, or when you were looking at books, were you also looking at kids' books? And,
That's a-
that
That's a good
would-
question. We didn't have any kids' books, but when we were looking to do it again, there were like a few teenagers that we were looking at.
Okay, because that would be interesting too. And I'm sure there are books for young kids about various kids who are blind or whatever, So it would be interesting to do that too, and include them. Okay.
What do you guys think, like, what are next steps? What do you need from the committee? What would next steps be to start kind of organizing this and getting it going? What kind of, like, what would we do next?
Yeah, I think like from the subcommittee standpoint, really, if you like these topics, if you know people who either live that experience, work with people, whatever it is, because we don't want to just raise awareness. We also want to talk about how to, that's part of it, but like, how do we make decisions? Because when we were thinking about Mayor's example last time about designing a museum, for people who are in a wheelchair or something like that, and that changed the entire way that you set up all the placards and the information, right? That's kind of what we want to get out of this, is how can we make sure our communities are inclusive for whatever it is, whether it's just having more grace for people, and something like that, or there's actually structural differences or structural changes or something like that. So I think if you guys have ideas, for speakers. That would be what we would need for
So,
experts.
Next steps, so I'm thinking, should we send them to Lisa and she can send them out? Like if we have an idea for, like, I know somebody who could speak on this topic, or I have an idea for this topic, or partnering with this organization, send it to Lisa and then she can get it at the subcommittee. Do you think that's kind of where we're at? And then we can start planning from there?
Yeah, I think so. I think we just want to not have too much delay,
Absolutely.
because we were thinking 3 or 4 maybe events, really just kind of depending on how many speakers we can get. Yeah. I think we have enough in the
Year are
budget.
you looking at
Whenever we
to
can
be
get it going.
determined?
This was gonna be like once.
Yeah,
only
yeah,
one
well,
at a
like,
time.
yeah, one at a time, you know.
Sure.
Yeah,
Quarterly,
yeah,
yeah.
just
Yeah.
to, you know, it's a series, but I don't think it necessarily needs to be on any particular cadence, but
Right.
not more than once a month.
Absolutely.
Well, I just want to take a moment to applaud the subcommittee for coming up with this idea. And if we carry it out as a commission, I really think this is phenomenal as far as being inclusive. And I believe that information is a pathway to understanding and appreciating. So thank you for your efforts.
So then I think we have the goal is to find our first speaker, find our first topic. So
Yeah.
if anybody has thoughts or ideas,
I know we all have varied experiences and connections in the community, so
yeah.
it needs more than our subcommittee.
Yeah, I would say let's, like, if everybody could just plan, I mean, I feel like everybody could probably come up with like one thought or idea or identify, if we could just make it a goal to send that to Lisa by the end of the week and then get it up to the subcommittee to really get that going. Because I think sometimes where we struggle is we have a really good idea and just getting it off the ground.
Yeah.
So we just need to have a target for a topic or a speaker or an organization, and then just go from there. So if everybody could just send something into Lisa, that would be wonderful.
In tandem with this conversation, though, I think it would be potentially a good idea to look into the human
Yeah.
library organization, just to see, like, not necessarily if we could just get tips and tricks from them, but maybe even like partnering with them to do something at some point too.
Absolutely. Would there be somebody willing to reach out to them?
Yeah, I could. I don't have their email, but I'll get it. I'm sure
Okay.
Leroy has it.
Perfect. That would be great. And we can just go from there. Okay. Awesome work, you guys. Okay, and then we're on to other business. We have a guest speaker today. So this is David Mesta. He's a representative of Copal. He's here to provide an overview of their organization, what they do and what services they provide. They're a member-based organization established in, I'm going to say this is 2018. This is a typo. Is it 2018? Okay, she has 1018 here. To improve the quality of Latino family. So we tabled this from the 28th because there was bad weather. So we'll have you just go up to to that microphone right there. So you can just go ahead and just give us an overview, and then if we have questions. And then this is the organization that we're planning on partnering with to do our immigration event. So thank you for coming. Welcome.
I do have a little bit flyers of like what Copal is, so I can just hand them out if you guys
Yeah,
want.
perfect.
So everyone, my name's David Mesta. I am the lead organizer in the South Central region for Copal, Minnesota. So Copal is a nonprofit organization that's member-based, focusing on uplifting the Latino community in Minnesota. So we have offices in Rochester, Mankato, and Minneapolis. We started in 2018, focusing on really trying to, when you go to this, environmental justice, health and wellness, economic empowerment. So we have a worker center that's focused on finding people job opportunities, finding support, resources. We just started like a tax program too to help them. We also, as my role is, like do a lot of organizing work. So a couple months ago, we had for May Day, a couple weeks ago for May Day, we gave out baskets of Know Your Rights information to companies, 40 companies across Mankato, St. James, Madelia, and other places. And so really what our goal is to help uplift a lot of our community members, and how do we get them engaged and how do we get them to know about resources. If that's like their city council members, if they have questions about, rent or the street parking or like other things, that's what we want to do, is like build up their skills, but also make it more community involved. The other thing too is our Know Your Rights information. So we are, as part of the Immigrant Defense Network, IDN, our focus is on really doing a lot of outreach about what's going on with the situation. How do we give people more information of what their rights are? Because even if you aren't a citizen or you're international, you still have rights. And that's what we want to share to community members. So like, for example, we have these Know Your Rights cards that we give out to community members. But that's my little spiel.
Awesome, thank you.
Oh.
We really appreciate you coming. You had partnered with, I forget the organization, another organization in New Ulm to do an event,
Yep.
and it sounded like that went over really well. And that's kind of what we were looking to do in partnership with the HRC.
Yeah, no. So I think we worked with another group. I think it was Indivisible or others. We did it at the public library, and we had a pretty good amount of group. I think like about 10 to 15, maybe 20 people were there. So a lot of our goal is to help teach community members how to be an ally, and also just helping with the community members, just being, hey, here's the information you need to know. So my question is, what dates are you guys looking to hold this?
We are pretty available, so we were looking at hosting it at the community center. There's several rooms there, just because it's easy for us as a commission to utilize that space. So we were looking at June. Now June's so I'm thinking the end of June, just so we have a little bit of time to advertise. So it's just kind of up to what your availability would be.
Yeah, so I think, and would you guys want to do this like in the evening?
We were thinking in the evening on a weeknight.
On a weeknight, gotcha. So looking at my schedule, and you guys want to plan this like late June?
Let's aim for late June.
Late June?
Just so we
Okay.
have a few weeks to advertise.
So I should be pretty much available late June,
Okay.
for the evening.
Okay,
So
let's,
what dates would you guys be interested? Like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? Like,
yeah, late week. So we're looking at like the 23rd to the 27th,
23rd to the 27th? Gotcha.
maybe. I know Wednesdays are always tricky. Like they're a good idea, and yet sometimes they're a struggle too because there's other things going on. I don't know if anybody has any preferences.
I think it's less of an issue during the summer though than during the school year.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Is there a church?
not usually
in
during the summer.
Yeah.
Oh, not in the summer.
Yeah, but no like faith formation classes or anything like that. So maybe Wednesday the 25th tentatively.
Wednesday, 25th? I think that could work.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will reach out to, I have your contact information, your email. I will reach out to the community center and just validate that it's available and book it. And then we can, if there's issues, we can circle back.
Gotcha. And then is there any logistics that you guys are planning that?
So we were thinking, and we have a contact with NewCat. We wanted to try and do an online option for people who couldn't physically attend, so we can reach out to them. So you wouldn't need to worry about that. What do you need do you do like a presentation? Do you need equipment? Because that's available at the community center.
Yep. So we have a presentation set up to talk about Know Your Rights. So yeah, pretty much as long as we can get like a presentation format, audio, video, I think that's what we just
Okay.
need.
Perfect. Yep, that's available there, so that'll work fine. Time. 7 o'clock?
7 o'clock? Yeah,
That
I think that, yeah.
Okay.
Usually our presentation takes about like an hour.
Okay. Maybe, yeah,
That sounds
that
good.
works. Okay. So we'll tentatively plan on that. I will get back to you tomorrow. Usually the community center is really fast about getting back to me, so I'll email them in the morning, make sure that's available, and then we'll go from there.
Yep, I think that works.
Perfect. Yeah, and I don't think logistics otherwise, like there's audio-visual equipment. We're going to partner with NewCat to see if they can stream it. So, and we can just keep in contact if there's anything else that comes up that you think you guys would need.
But yeah, is there any questions about Copal?
The 25th of June. 7 PM. Maybe able to confirm right now. Oh, there is.
Thanks for checking.
Thanks for checking. So that date will not work. What about
Tuesday?
Tuesday? Tuesday, the 24th? Sorry. That's good timing, though. He was able to check.
It's a good thing he's here.
Yeah.
I feel like my whole presentation would have been overrun by the,
Municipal band.
Any brass instruments? Drums?
I
No.
only did band for like a year.
Oh, yeah.
What about the Tuesday, the 24th? Would that work?
Yeah, that can work
Okay.
too.
So let's do the 24th at 7 PM. Is there any band concerts that day?
I don't see any.
Okay, perfect.
Cool.
I don't have the full calendar.
Awesome. Okay, I will confirm with the community center and get back to you tomorrow on that then. Does anybody have any more questions for David? All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate it and we'll be in touch. We were supposed to have another person in attendance, Pat LaCourse, who's the Brown County Transit Manager, to discuss the idea of having Heartland Express and Herman Express pamphlets available in Braille and another language. I don't believe that he's here. He was supposed to call you and we haven't seen it. So if he would happen to, we can circle back. And then promotional items, this was also tabled from April 28th. We talked about it at the subcommittee meeting as well. So this is what is available from Printware Graphics. At the subcommittee meeting, we talked about doing the lip balms were a good item, and that might be something that we could stick in the swag bags for the 5K. But Lisa went and looked up the cost of different promotional items from Printware. So our original recommendation was to do another 500 lip balms, which would be $585. But there's also these other options if we want to do something different. And then, yeah. So our recommendation was basically everything that we have. I don't have the list here of what we actually have in stock. But we felt like we had enough signs because we'd handed so many out. There were about 85 left, so we thought that was enough. Stickers we thought were good. We can always get candy just as we have events. So our main thought was to order more of like an actual item, promotional item with our logo on it. And we had lip balms last time, but again, we could do something different if we were so inclined. So basically just have to decide, we want to order 500 of something, what we want to do.
I think the lip balm would probably be a good idea. At least speaking as, younger people, I think generally that is something that's more used,
Gotcha.
especially.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I know that's something that most people, at least from our age, have like their chapstick or lip balm on them at all times. So, which could be something that would be a more lasting for people.
Yeah, just have it in your pocket or your purse and pull it out. Absolutely.
Are we looking to just do one of these items?
That was our recommendation, but we could do more than one if we wanted to. That'd be fine.
The magnets also.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Because if you put it on your fridge, you know that it's there, you see it all the time. Hopefully they're strong enough that they can actually be useful, like hold something up.
Yeah, that's my favorite one, the magnets that don't hold it.
Okay. Would there be a motion anywhere in those sentences?
Also move.
Okay.
The balm and magnets, right?
Second.
Great. Do we have any other discussion? Okay. All approve, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. So that motion passes to order 500 lip balms and 500 of the magnets.
The only thing is I'd feel like we talked that we might want more stickers because they went.
Oh, yeah, that is correct. Yes.
And just like
Those little, see, it doesn't help when I don't have the list.
yeah.
Those little stickers, the just social justice stickers, we recommended ordering 500 more of those. And those are fairly cheap. They were like $20 for 500 of them.
But those
But they
are
won't be
not branded.
They're not branded, but to hand out at like
Yeah.
the fair and
the
stuff,
fair
yeah,
and the
yeah. So
parade
we wouldn't put them like in the bag for the 5K.
Yeah, I do remember at the fair, especially a lot of little kids picked out stickers and those went quick.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I forgot about that.
That's all.
Do we want to motion?
I will motion to get 500 more stickers.
Any other discussion on that? All right, all approve, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So that motion passes to get 500 more stickers. All right, where are we at? So next is a legislative update.
Me, is that me?
No, that's the city council.
Oh.
Legislative is just basically anything going on in the state or federal level that would be worthy of our attention, which I feel like is a lot of things at this point. But I don't have any like specific bill to bring forward unless any. I think it's just something to constantly keep our eye on as a Human Rights Commission of what's coming through the state, what's going to affect kind of our state at both levels. So if you happen, I'm not very good at this and I'm trying to be better of like, as I see bills that I think trigger, like this could be an issue or concern for human rights, to like flag them, so I remember to bring them, and I consistently forget to bring specific bills. Lisa does send them out occasionally, so.
Just for your information, I did attend the town hall meeting with Dames last week, and a couple of things that he brought up. One was that there is serious consideration for cutting $260 million for support of long-term care facilities, and that was very concerning, as well as insurance for immigrants. And, you know, how can we fund all of these things? Well, my hope is that they look deeper at some other things that aren't affecting, first of all, those in long-term care who have no alternatives, as well as the immigrants. So it was a heated meeting, to say the least. But I gave people credit for voicing their opinions, so we know what truly is going on within our local constituents, but also for Dames for speaking up and being here. But there's a lot of concerns at the state level, and we won't know until this special session how it's going to affect human rights issues.
That might be a good point to bring back after the special session's over of what was actually decided, what we feel like might impact human rights. Like you said, long-term care, that's a huge concern
Yes.
as well. Thank you. City Council, that is you.
Okay, well, I did a bad job because I forgot. So, and I haven't been doing a good job because I was on maternity leave for 3 months and then I was out of the country for like 3 weeks. So, so I will volunteer to do it the next 3 months and maybe I'll do a better job.
Perfect, that's totally fine. We have the mayor here, so I feel like if there's anything pressing that we completely missed, she might bring that to our attention.
The only thing, and it's a positive thing, is with the approval for the welcoming meeting. And also, we are looking at commissions, and I did talk about all of the work that this group does without a staff. And so it indeed a working commission, and again, thank you for all of that.
There, that actually reminded me of something from the subcommittee for the Welcoming Week event. So what would your recommendation be? We were hoping to get the city council or other commissions possibly involved in just at the welcoming event. What would be the best way for us as a commission to engage with them to see if they'd want to set up a booth or have city councilors come, or would there be like a specific way for us to engage the rest of the commissions? Would there be a contact, or would it be each commission individually? Would it be through Lisa? Would it be going to city council and speaking about the event? Like, what would you recommend so that we would be really interested in having as much participation as possible from the city as well, if they were interested?
Well, I think if you put together an information sheet, as well as in there a request for participation and support, and through Lisa's work through the commission chairs,
Okay.
or the commissions, and that way everybody will be aware of it
Okay, awesome. We
and
can
would
do
be
that.
able to, indicate whether or not they would, like you say, be there with a booth or just assist with facilitating the event.
Okay, we can do that. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, that brings us to the date of our next meeting. So the next regularly scheduled meeting is Monday, June 23rd. So that will be the day before our event with Copel. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. Any other discussion? All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign. All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all so much.